What is going on, beautiful people? It's your boy here, Wesley from A Connection TV here on YouTube, the one place on the World Wide Web where we actually adopt similar connections despite our differences. And welcome to my channel. If this is your first time seeing me, definitely follow me on all social medias, Twitter and Instagram at A Connection TV. I'm here to talk to you about Gemini Filmz Bad Boys Texas Reunion Part 2. And if y'all follow me, y'all know that I did the interview or a interview with Maj, who I deem to be the hero of this particular season because no one likes bullies, right? No one likes bullies at all. And Maj came into the show, who was supposed to be an original, so says him, according to our interview. He came on the show as a replacement, and he kind of ended up being like someone that Kelton could depend on, relatively speaking, in the house. And then, of course, outside of the house, Maj became Kelton's shield. Now, there's a lot of rumblings going on about that, about the fact that, you know, Maj became Kelton's shield, and Kelton, knowing this, is all about the bark, all about the mouth. And people aren't respecting that, or at least the cast isn't respecting Kelton's ability to have a battery put in his back now that he has Maj as a shield. So we're going to talk about it a little bit about it throughout this review, but I really want y'all to go check out the Maj interview, 1, and then 2, leave in the comments if you feel like Kelton should not have a battery in his back and should not be, you know, talking all his yin-yang if he's not going to back it up. Let's discuss. So we start this reunion part 2 off where we left off, and it was like the Royal Rumble, if you will. It was a lot going on, and for whatever reason, there were like black moments during the recording, and I was annoyed because I know, in my mind, I'm like, I know you better play all the footage. In my mind, I'm like, there was like 9 cell phones. I'm exaggerating. Maybe like 3 or 4 cell phones recording. You mean to tell me none of these young men knew what to capture and how to capture it? All of their phones are pointing in one direction, and it kind of like confused me because I'm like, if the fight is over here, why we got 3 cameras pointing over here? So it was kind of confusing me with the black spot editing that was happening because you would get a black screen and then you would hear like rumbling and then the fight will come back. So I don't know what we missed, what we saw. To be quite honest, I'm very confused about all of that. But Maj handled everyone through the footage that we saw. Maj handled everyone, cleared out the whole space, right? So much so that it was like huge gaps in between, right? You know, Justice stood up for himself, which was great. He was fighting everybody, didn't really matter. Maj was like, you're not gonna keep fighting me and think that I'm gonna let you keep fighting me. So Maj and Justice went at it for a while. Then, because we missed it, there was something that happened on the opposite side of the reunion, and Kelton was on the floor, and Jacob was seemingly on top of Kelton, okay? Which I don't know how that happened, but I guess in the first part of this, you know, Jacob and Kelton had exchanged words, and it was for what it was. So I guess maybe Jacob felt that since he couldn't get at him in the beginning part of the reunion, he was going to get at him whenever he was able to get at him. But Jacob forgot that Maj was Kelton's shield. So Maj, you know, Captain Savin, went over to that side. He was all the way over here held up. Then Kelton threw up the Maj I need support flag. Maj came all the way on the other side and went to go in on Jacob from behind him, right? From behind him. But Maj didn't realize that Jacob had his shield. So child, Miss Alex said, what? You think you coming at my man? No, I don't think so. So Miss Alex tried to take a swing at Maj, but he missed. And then security hemmed him up. Like Alex was the player. Alex was not playing with Maj when Maj went to go after Jacob. It was hilarious. But security scooped him up so fast, you know, Maj and Alex wasn't able to get at it. But that brings me to the interview. Y'all should go watch the interview. Maj said that if he sees Alex, he's gonna one-up him because he said Alex snuck him. But Maj, you snuck Jacob. So one snuck equals to another snuck. Like, I'm sorry. if I'm Alex, if my man is fighting this man over here that got all this mouth, ain't been about no bark, and they getting they one-on-one, then Captain Saban comes over and tries to get at my man, oh baby, it's fair game, baby. I'm coming after you. What are you talking about? So Maj, I don't know how you feel about it. Maybe you still want to one-up with Alex, but Alex was defending his man because you one-upped Jacob from behind. So Alex gonna get you from behind. I think that's just fair. It is what it is. But it was hilarious seeing Alex try to get in there because he was trying to save his man. I thought that was hot. I really did. I thought that was hot. But you to think that the way Maj was defending Kelton, that baby, they had some, they was, you know, but Maj said he had already had his man, so that wasn't the case. He just didn't appreciate how they messed with Kelton in the house. So they wasn't going to get the opportunity to do that at the reunion. So it was what it was. Sir Justice walks away with a battle wound, and you know he proclaims to the world that it ain't nothing but a battle wound. It ain't nothing but a battle wound. And I'll say it again. That's the one thing that I can respect about Justice. Well, there's two things that I can respect about Justice. Justice has been very open and candid about his life on the show, and Justice will give it up to whoever wants it. Now, I don't know, Justice be allowing people to stun him. You know, if he don't want to fight, he don't want to fight. But if he do want to fight, he gonna fight. And I respect that about Justice. So yeah, shout out to Justice, shout out to Alex for you know, trying to defend his man. And I don't know why Jacob was fighting Kelton. I have no idea. Maj and Keith ended up getting into a fight when everything broke out and everybody was trying to get back together or whatever. Couldn't see why, couldn't understand why. The 9 cell phones were nowhere to be seen. I don't know where these people, like these people should have stations. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then elevated stations. So where they just filming. That's all they're supposed to do is film. But, you know, there's a lot going on. There was a lot of confusion. Everybody's all over the place. I get it. But I don't know what happened with Keith and Maj. I just know something happened with Keith and Maj. And it happened and then it didn't happen no more. So I don't know. Then out of nowhere, some dude with braids and a white shirt on, he kind of looked cute, by the way. He was a little cute, by the way. Just out of nowhere, I don't know what happened because the cell phones wasn't over here. So I don't know what happened. But all of a sudden, this man just attacks Dee out of nowhere. And attacked him hard. Like, the man looked big. Like, I don't know. One thing I can say about Dee was really trying it with these people. I don't know who these people was, but he was trying it and did not give a damn. Dee was still trying to defend himself, and this man was huge coming after Dee. So I was like, what? Where did this man come from? I know he wasn't on the show, but he fighting Dee. And I couldn't even understand what the man was saying because he was saying something about what Dee did or didn't. I don't know what happened. But there was a lot going on. It was confusion. And everybody trying to calm this big old muscular dude with the braids, trying to calm him down. But he was trying to get after little old Dee. I didn't know. I didn't understand what that was going on. I couldn't understand that. I don't know. They should have had the font, because there was a lot of fonts coming up on the screen. They should have had the font explain who he was, why he tried to attack Dee, what was going on. Because the cell phone crew was not getting all the stuff that we needed to get. There was a lot of missing puzzle pieces. I don't know. But then, I don't know, it might be the way that he's editing this. Because Karan, that's one thing I can say about y'all. Y'all know how to edit. Whoever's your editor, your team, they know how to edit and get the suspense moving and pumping, right? Because they jumped forward and then jumped back and then showed us little pieces to, like, Karan, yeah, y'all be doing y'all thing over there. I still think y'all need some of my equipment to make it, to fine tune the quality touches, but y'all getting it done. So shout out to you, Karan. I love my baby girl, Judy. Judy had me hollering, like hollering. She was over there with the laptop. This Judy. She over there, she got her phone and her drink in one hand, and she got the laptop, the pad in another hand, and she just like, Karan, no! I love Judy. Judy was like, this is ghetto. What am I doing here? Did the check clear? Oh God, what? I love Judy. Judy was trying to keep the peace. Judy was trying to get the boys to come together, kumbaya, my lord. Shout out to Judy. Shout out to Diego. I hope we get to see him in part 3. Oh yes, there's a part 3. I'm gonna talk about that at the end. Karan tried it. Shout out to Diego, who by the way was trying to stop all of the fights with the bear in his hand. Diego is funny. Diego's waving around. He's like, I don't know what's going on, bitch. I'm drunk as hell. I don't know what's... Shout out to Diego for staying in character and being drunk. Maj and Darian talk outside, and Maj is annoyed after everything. He feels that Darian is not really doing what he said he would do when coming to the reunion and sticking up for himself. He feels that Darian is allowing people to sun him, and he's saying that Dee called you a bitch and all of this stuff, and he didn't defend himself against that. And I would guess that Maj is talking about what he talked about in the interview, which happened at the front entrance of the house when Dee was sunning everybody except for him. And then that's when they got into the argument. So I'm assuming that guessing that that's what Maj was talking about when they was outside. Then all of a sudden, Maj and Dee have a standoff. Again, the cell phone crew, I don't know what happened. They were there, then they weren't there. They had their phones not recording, and it was recording. It was just a lot going on. I felt like somebody should have just always been on the outskirts, just recording. Not trying to move equipment out the way, not trying to be security, because we needed to see what was going on. There was a lot of footage that, like one camera person should have been at the top with the crowd and had a surveying camera that just stayed out of the way. You know what I'm saying? And then another person could have been behind the bar to get that, that panoramic view of just everything. Because if he behind the bar and he on the upper platform where the audience is, ain't no need for him to stop filming and try to protect people. You know what I'm saying? But maybe Karan didn't have enough people. I don't know. But I felt like all them cell phone people that was all up in the mix should have been out on outskirts just filming so we could understand what was going on. Correction of error. So we get to the comedic moment of the reunion where Maj is presumably being held in the back, in like this back hallway area where security is. Don't know why. We don't know why. I mean, the font said it, but it would have been nice to have seen it. Maj needed to be separated so that the reunion can continue. But the reunion couldn't continue because Darian wanted to make his noise. And this was that's what I'm saying. There was a lot of missing puzzle pieces because I'm not understanding why Darian is threatening security and talking about don't touch me, don't touch me, don't touch me. Then he goes and takes off his clothes. Now, mind you, you have a standoff of men. Mind you, Darian first was animated with the little guy. It was like a little guy with dreads coming out the back of his head. And he didn't really, I felt like he was like barkeep or somebody that really wasn't supposed to be security, somebody that just got in there because the owner of the venue was like, they wrecking my shit up. Like, we need all hands on deck. So I think the little guy really didn't want to be bothered by none of this. But then there was another guy and then the bigger guy with the bulletproof vest on and the security thing. Now mind you, you got all these three dudes standing where Darian's not supposed to go. And Darian think he about to do something. Now all I needed to see was the big muscle dude he ain't got no feeling in his face. No nothing. He just, I'm doing my job. Low light bright, you better cut it out. You know what I'm saying? Darian's still going off and off on the mouth. Mind you, the security wasn't moved. You know what I'm saying? Like the security didn't care. They was just doing their job and they didn't want to lay hands because they supposed to secure, not beat up. So Darian is walking back and forth, taking off his clothes, pull up his pants. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. I'm like, what? I couldn't understand what was happening. It made no sense to me. Darian gets kicked out of the venue. Judy is walking around like, I don't know what the hell I signed up for. And Justice was bleeding at one point and stopped bleeding. I don't know how he stopped bleeding so fast, but he was bleeding at one point and then stopped bleeding. And then he walking out with Darian. He like, bitch, I know. You ain't saying nothing, but I know. No. We need to know too, Justice. What happened? I couldn't figure it out. And you know, and they played it with that trailer, baby. They played it with that trailer with the one with the scene with the guy walking out. He got his face covered. It had me believing it was with D or something like that. But they tried it. They tried it with that thing, and we thinking that it's somebody done got attacked or something. It was Darian talking about don't touch me, but he had to put his little black jacket thing on, and he holding it like this. Ooh, they got me in the editing, baby. That's what I'm saying. Their editors are great. They put it together real well, Karan. But Darian is making a scene, well, not a scene, but it becomes a scene. Just like, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Then Darian looks at the cell phone, and he like, look, I want to come back in here. I want to come back. Tell Karan I can come back in there. It'll be all right. I said, oh, child, this is the drama, baby, the drama. So then we get to this 1 week later. Karan, you a fool. We get to this 1 week later, and because I am who I am, and I work in the field that I work on, I gotta point it out. Karan, you funny. You real funny. How Karan got the best lighting in this? Karan got the best lighting, the best setup, baby. Baby, Karan is dead center in the middle, poised, baby, poised. Got the correct color correction on him. Light, sound, everything on Karan is professional. Then we get to Darian and Darius, D and Dee, and they look a little dark. It's the orange. It's like an orange tinge, color corrected on them, and they mics is jacked. I'm like, oh no, Karan, why you ain't call me to do this interview setup with you? I could have did this. We could have filmed it, had it look like, 60 minutes. You know what I'm saying? It could have been the conversation, low key, you know what I'm saying? But I respect Karan trying to get us some closure with this footage. But I was annoyed by the setup of it all. I really was. I really was. But at a moment though, I was kind of annoyed. At the beginning moment, I was kind of annoyed with this because I'm like, this all should have took place at the reunion. Why are we coming back 1 week later? You mean to tell me y'all couldn't calm Darian light ass down? I know D was all over the place, but Darian, really? Like what? But I don't know, and then again, that's because I don't know what happened. Like, it was a fight, then a fight, and then the fight, and then we don't know. But 1 week later, here we go, we get to sit down. The only thing I grabbed from this is that they was mad at Kelton for talking all this yin yang, and they was mad at Maj for protecting somebody. And their point is, which is a valid point, if you know that you can't fight, if you know that you normally don't stick up for yourself, why are you doing all of this talking and not backing it up by yourself? And why is Maj having to defend you on everything that you say? I get that point, and I understand that. But I also feel like Kelton did what he needed to do throughout this reunion. Every piece of footage I saw, Kelton was fighting somebody. And Maj wasn't always with Kelton. So I get what they're saying. I get it. But I think a lot of their energy is coming from the house, right? A lot of their energy is coming from what happened in the house. But Kelton was in every fight. Kelton was in a lot of fights without Maj, and it was what it was. And what makes me feel like Kelton was on edge, period, Kelton got up before Maj did. When Justice immediately got up, Kelton immediately got up. So I get how they feel like, Kelton needed Maj to defend him, but Kelton was talking junk when Maj wasn't even around. So I feel like Kelton was on 10, period. And was going after people, period. Now, whether they feel that way is one thing, but what I saw that was displayed on the reunion was that Kelton didn't give a damn no more, and he was attacking everybody. And it just was what it was. He was over it. Kelton was clearly over it. But, hey, D and D feel the same way they do, and that's what it is. I thought it was hot. I like D. I like D. I like D a lot. D is dope. I told y'all my favorites are Vonnie, D, and Maj. Those dudes were the show for me. D had the opportunity, and Karan backed him up on it, which was dope. Dee had the opportunity to come at Darian to let him know how he felt. Now, I don't know if Dee was crying because Dee took a minute to like wipe his eyes. Maybe he was emotionally invested in the situation or whatever the case may be. But Dee wanted Darian to admit that he had played the F out of him on TV. And that hurt him a lot. Dee had apparently tried to communicate with Darian after he had left the house, but Darian paid him dust. And if we go back to what happened in the house, you would think that Darian paid him dust because he had Maj. So it was what it was. But Darian's claim to his actions, or excuse for his actions, was that one, he didn't really have his phone unless it was for work. And then two, he felt that Dee wasn't serious in the relationship. But Karan and the footage showed that Dee was indeed invested enough for Darian to believe and or feel that there could have been something afterward. At the end of the day, I chalk it up to Darian not really liking him all that much and Darian just having a show boyfriend or a showmance. But Dee took it differently because according to Dee, he doesn't casually lay in the bed with someone every night. And he called Darian out and said, maybe you casually do this, but I don't casually do this. There was no reason why I needed to verbalize specifically anything outside of our actions because actions do speak louder than words. But according to Darian, Darian needed verbatim by the mouth of everything that needed to happen and take place for them in order for him to feel like something was worth it. But then in my mind, if you felt like it wasn't really given that, what was with all the tears and the emotion leaving? And Dee's response was that all that was fake. He felt all that was fake. So that was a good moment to get all of that out. I felt like that was a good moment to get all of that out. But what silenced everything is when Dee said, I wish Maj was here because Maj told me everything. And I said, ooh. I said, well, ain't nothing else. Ain't nothing else to say. And then once Dee said that, Darian was quiet. Then we get from that to 1 week ago, back to the reunion. This is how Karan is good. Whoever is editing the hell out of this, Karan is good. So then we get back into the editing, and then the editing puts a couple of pieces together. Dee is sitting on one end of the table, and there's some boy sitting on the left side, the right side of Dee. We don't know who the boy is. There was no captions that introduced the boy. We don't know who it is. Maybe this is the best friend and not the dude in the white with the braids. I don't know. But apparently something was about to happen between the two of them. The boy gets up. Then Kelton jumps in. Dee is fighting Kelton. And then Maj comes in. And that's where the standoff happens. Now, we get to a part 3. And Karan is a funny mother. Ain't he? Karan is a funny... A part 3, I'm going to say it like this. I want to hear from Vonnie. I want to hear from Jacob. I want to hear from Alex. I want to hear from these people. I want to hear from these people. Yes, I want to hear from these people because we didn't get a chance to hear from these people. And I want to hear from Diego. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully we get that in part 3. But interesting show. Very interesting show. You know, Karan's putting together this besties thing. And in my mind, I'm like, that just sounds like nothing but fights. That just sounds like nothing but fights. Oh, Lord Jesus. That sounds like nothing but fights. Now, I'll do the one-on-one situations for you, but I ain't doing no reunion. Now, my equipment is not getting messed up by these kids that want to fight because they besties out here and their bestie getting touched and then they want to touch. Or you can have me in the outskirts and I just have one main camera just filming everything. Where you know, I ain't got to worry about nothing. I'm in the box, baby, because ain't nobody breaking my equipment. All them lapels and stuff got torn up. That equipment got torn up. But anyways, y'all go support the man and go watch the part 2 because there's gonna be a part 3. Go support the man. But yeah, it is what it is. Leave your comments below. Let me know what y'all thought about the reunion. And let me know what y'all thought about the interview with Maj. Deuces.